My name is Patricia Woodville, and it's Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, and we're here in Lockwood, California to have a conversation with Calvern Saylor about his knowledge of Lockwood and the area where he was raised. Also present is his wife, Linda, and our camera person, Maria Weinerth. We are having this conversation on behalf of the San Antonio Valley Historical Association, SAVA. So first, I'm going to ask Calvern to state and spell his full name for the record. You want just your last name?
No, it's Clarence Calvern Saylor.
And how do you spell your last name?
S-A-Y-L-E-R.
Oh, great, thank you. And Calvern, what is your date of birth?
August 17th, 35.
Oh. And where were you born?
Paso Robles.
Paso Robles. And was that in a hospital or a health clinic?
No, it was what did you call them?
Like a medical clinic?
No, it was more of I don't know, a house by a woman by the name of Sadie Whiteman was
like a midwife?
Midwife.
Oh,
that's what
really?
I was trying to come up with, yeah.
Wow, really? So you were born in a house and not in a hospital or clinic?
Mm-hmm.
Because that Paso Robles Hospital wasn't built till later.
Later on.
Yeah, up on the hill there. I was told that from my last conversation.
Yeah, I don't know the name. I know the time it was built.
Great. Okay, Calvern, I want to make sure that we have permission to use this recording to educate people about our history. And so, Calvern, do we have your permission to share this information with others who are interested in history?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Calvern, what were your parents' full names and ancestry?
My dad was Clarence Glenwood, and Mom was Irma Lucille.
And what is the ancestry? Where were they born? Were they born in this country or Germany or?
Well, Dad had to have been born here. I'm not sure where. I don't never brought it up, I guess. Mom was a Paso Robles native, and her parents were out of Adelaide.
Oh.
And she was a Stockdale from that area.
That's really interesting.
She was telling me some kind of interesting stories about back there and by Chimney Rock, and they lived right there on Chimney Rock Ranch.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, what year were they born? Do you remember?
No. Dad was born in '09. I remember that, but I imagine Mom was too, because they're both about the same age.
And I guess they were born. Your dad was born in Paso Robles?
Well, I'm not sure where he was born.
Oh.
To be honest with you, I never brought it up. I guess
we'll have to look that up on Ancestry. So, when did they move to Lockwood?
Golly, that's a good question. I don't know.
Don't remember?
I don't know.
When they did move to Lockwood, did they come to this area? Do you remember anything most about them, like what they did for a living or where they lived here in Lockwood?
Dad farmed down here in Lockwood, and now his dad and Mom built the house up here in Lockwood, and that was finished in '39.
What house was that?
And that's the one. Well, it's one we used to have.
Down on this
on
is Lockwood, Halone Road.
Martinez
Road.
Yeah.
And that was built in when
they moved here. It was finished in '39.
It was finished in 39.
And my grandmother and grandfather were there, and shortly after they built it, my grandfather passed away, and my grandmother wanted to stay here, so Dad added a room to that house inside, changed the wall is what they did. And my grandmother lived there until '48. She built a little house there too. So she had her own little house for a while.
Right there on the ranch.
Right on the ranch.
Oh, that's great. So they must have moved, if the house was in '39, they probably built here right after you were born. They moved to this area.
Yeah, right after I moved here. The first house they lived in was the two-story old Dodge house, we call it over here, by the post
Yeah,
office.
that's
You know.
still standing too. That was. So that's the first house you lived in.
Mhm.
Did your dad farm for
Yeah, he was
them
farming.
before he bought property?
Yeah. And then, well, he farmed with his granddad. His dad was getting so he couldn't do anything. Basically, he's just an older person. He couldn't do a whole heck of a lot. So, Dad did the farming.
And what did they farm? What did they mainly raise?
Grain,
Grain,
wheat and barley.
wheat and barley.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a story about that your dad flew an airplane.
Yeah, he had an airplane for a while.
Did he have an airport or a
Well,
landing
They
strip
just
here?
probably came up with somebody else. Henry Roth had a hangar over here,
Oh, okay.
and they had two hangars there, and he had one of them. He kept his plane there also.
And did he just fly around the local area?
Yeah, pretty much. We flew to King City a couple times with him, and he didn't have the plane too awfully long, maybe 3 years, something like that.
And you went up flying with them?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been really fun. So the barley, did you raise cattle also?
Dad might have been involved with a couple of partners on some cattle, but I never got involved with that at all.
No, just
No.
farming.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a story about how he used to chase.
Well, they had a lease down on the river, at least from the sublease. Botts had the lease from the military, and then Dad, Archie Wepling, and George Heinz subleased.
Oh.
And they had quite a few acres of grain down there, and the cattle kept getting in. So we go down once in a while with it. He got the airplane down so low, when he come in, we'd picking barley out of the wheels.
Oh,
told
well,
me-
that is low.
I think he had to race up a little to get over the fences.
You must have landed on the back of the cattle or something.
He was right down there with them.
Oh, wow.
In the younger days, when you had more, I don't know what you call it, little more.
So that's what you did for entertainment.
Yeah. He was a little braver than he used to be. When he got older, he kind of calmed down, yeah.
Yeah. I think we all did that. Maybe. Anyway. So that's a really good memory of your parents. Do you have any other fond memories of your parents?
Oh, golly, I don't know what would be interesting.
Weren't they honored at the Paso Robles Pioneer Day
Yes.
parades?
Yeah.
Your mom and dad, or just your dad?
Well, they had, yeah, just the dad. It was just, what do they call us?
Grand Marshal?
Marshals, yeah.
You were also...
I was in 2015, and I know this when Dad was. He was earlier on.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was Marshal also.
Yeah.
And I had an uncle that was a Marshal, but he passed away a while before he got to getting the parade, so they just led his horse through with a wreath on it.
Oh.
So there would have been another one in the family that was in the parade. And I drove tractor in the parade just about every year for a long time, from, oh golly, back in the 50s probably.
Oh, wow. That long.
Yeah, I stayed with him
That's
until about 5 years ago, yeah.
You mentioned that when your dad was doing the parade of the Grand Marshal before he passed away. Do you remember when he passed away, or
That
how
was been
old
an
he
uncle
was?
that passed away.
Oh.
No, Dad lived about a year after he was Marshal, and that was something that they always had, the kind of dread of being a Marshal, because most of the guys that got a Marshal, they'd last for maybe 1-2 years and they'd pass away. That'd be.
Well, you beat that on.
That beats that, yeah.
That's a good thing.
So I've been one of the few that lived that long afterwards, yeah.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I had a brother and a sister.
And what were their names?
The boy was Robert Glenn, and my sister's Glenda.
Were they older or younger?
Younger.
Younger
Younger.
than you? You were the oldest in
I
your
was the
family?
oldest of the family,
You were the
yes.
firstborn?
And my sister, Glenda Rodman, from out of Pine Canyon.
Yeah. That's right. So she's still around. What
Yeah.
about your brother? Is he still alive?
No, he passed away when I was a sophomore in high school, I think, so I.
Oh,
would
that
have
was
been
very
about-
young.
Yeah, in the 40s. Well, she and another boy were out because they were playing with gasoline and pouring it on the green grass and writing their name, and it blew up and got him. And
Oh, no.
yeah, so they took him to San Francisco, but that was early on, and they couldn't save him. His lungs were burnt from inhaling.
Oh, no.
He wasn't burnt all that bad outside, but the breathing that it got him. So.
That's sad, yeah. Well, did you have other family that lived nearby, like aunts and uncles in this area? Or were they all in Paso Robles?
Oh, I'll tell you,
Adelaide.
I had an uncle and an aunt that lived in Soledad, and he worked for PG&E. And let's see, so I can't remember anything. But anyway,
The Pattersons.
huh?
The Pattersons are family.
Well, yeah, but they're not close.
You're related to the Pattersons?
Yeah,
Distant relatives or
Yeah.
cousins?
my grandmother was a Patterson,
Oh,
became a sailor.
so she was one of the Patterson clan.
Yeah.
Which is another local family in the Lockwood, San Antonio Valley.
Yeah.
So, Calvin, can you share with us some of your earliest memories of your family in Lockwood and the San Antonio Valley? Like, what do you remember most about growing up here?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't think it's any different than anybody else in a way, but I was when farming. Dad had me on a tractor when I was 13, and from then on, it was farming. That's what I always did. Nothing.
You did that until you retired.
Yeah,
Even
basically,
after
yeah.
you retired, I think you still did some farming locally. Yeah, and your dad. I have a note here that said your dad used to take you to work with him when he worked on the neighbors' ranches, and that's when you learned to drive a tractor.
Well, no, I drove tractor, and then whenever we'd get through farming, a lot of times we were farming smaller acreage than some of the others, and when we'd get, especially in harvest time, when we'd get done, Dad would always take off with his harvester and go help somebody else. So
yeah.
That's the way I got to go around different ranches.
I think they did that in those days. Everybody helped everybody else. And it seems like in this area, a lot of people still do that. You know, they help each other.
I've kind of lost track of that, so we've quit farming now for quite a few years. So I don't know who else is in it. The Martinez boys might be. The only ones I know. Still, Ross boys probably still farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of it is in other agriculture in this area now. So, what schools did you attend in this area?
The what? The school?
What school?
Like San Antonio School, the old one.
The old one down
Yeah.
there, and that was just like it was really 2 rooms or 2-room schoolhouse. Or,
Well, it was a 2-room, but you could make it a 3.
oh, okay.
And
How many? Do you remember how many students you went to
I
school
don't.
with? Not that many, though.
not that many. There must have been maybe 30 kids total. He was in the school. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Do you
for
have any
sure.
fond memories of anything that happened during your school
No,
years?
not really.
Nothing. No, nothing exciting. How did you get to school?
In the school bus.
You did?
There
You
was
rode the
we
school
had a
bus?
school bus.
You didn't have to walk?
Well, I had to walk about a half a mile, and then I got on the school bus. Went on to school.
Oh, okay. Do you remember walking to school?
No,
Anything about
not-
walking to school? Maybe.
No, the one thing I think that she's trying to get me to touch on is when it was barefoot. We had one time, a couple of us, we put thumbtacks in their heels, so it clicked when we walked.
Oh,
We
so
did
you wore
that.
shoes then? So they'd be like tap dance shoes?
Yeah, so then, because my dad he gave me holy hell when he found out what I did. You had to go in there with tweezers and start pulling those pieces out.
I bet he wasn't too happy about that.
No, we never thought about that thing was gonna wear off, you know, we just leave the pointed end sticking in there. So
It's a good thing you weren't barefoot. Did you ever go to school barefoot?
Yeah,
You did. So what was the story on that? I mean, how old were you when you
oh gee, I don't know. How old are you when you're going to
when you
school?
walked to school, kindergarten? I don't know. Did they have kindergarten
No.
or first grade?
They started first grade, yeah.
You were probably about 6, 5 or 6.
You're right, you're right.
And you
yeah.
walked to the bus stop
To
then?
the bus, so, yeah. Just where the bus picked me up.
And wasn't any paved roads then, was there? Was it
No,
really
that came
all
a
dirt?
little later, yeah.
Oh, you're not going to tell us about barefoot.
He stuck those thumbtacks in the bottom of his bare foot.
Oh, in the bottom of your
Oh,
bare
yeah, in the
foot?
heel, yeah.
Oh, I thought it, oh, ow.
Well, they were like the bottom of feet were like leather from running barefoot all the time,
Yeah,
you know, so it didn't hurt.
you had a lot of calluses on your feet. 'Cause
Well,
you
yeah, they were just callous so bad that we didn't feel it. We just wished to make noise. But it was like my dad had to pull the little pieces out because he was afraid it was gonna go on.
Oh,
on
yeah.
up, yeah.
Who did that? Just you or you?
No, there was a couple of the others, and I can't remember just who they were. I mean, so long ago.
Who was your really good friend in school? Did you have a really good friend that you?
Well, we were all
pretty-
fairly
you
good
were all
friends because there weren't that many to pick from.
That's true.
Yeah.
And who was in the school? Do you remember that are still friends? I mean, you became friends with all the locals here,
Yeah.
but do you remember their names that you were really close to, or anything that
No, because
was it? Were you in the same grade as Paul Martinez and?
no, Paul was a. Let's see, Paul was for first grade when I was in the 8th.
Oh,
So,
okay. So you were older than all these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Firstborn.
Paul would have been 80.
7 years. Or Paul and I are the same age, 42, 1942.
Yeah, so you were a little bit older.
You're quite a
5
bit.
years, yeah.
Didn't run with Paul very much till later on in life.
Yeah, so you don't remember any interesting school experiences here, but what high school did you go to?
King City,
King City High School, and that was a lot longer bus drive.
yeah, we got the bus was at the Lockwood store, or down where the Lockwood store is now.
Yeah. Did you walk down there from
No,
your
I had
home?
a Model T Ford, go straight down and.
A Model T Ford, and you just drove it to the store?
Yeah,
Just by yourself, or did you pick up other people?
Dwayne Werfling was living with Archie Werfling up at the upper end of the valley, and he had a bicycle. So I'd go out, and if I seen him coming down the road or something, I'd run up and pick him up and haul him down there. So he rode with him almost every morning,
Oh,
part
that's,
way down. Mhm.
and then you got on the bus and went to King City, which was a long ride back
Oh, I
then.
believe it. I think they gave us the worst bus too that they had.
The worst what?
The worst bus they had, I think,
Oh,
in the
really?
fleet at King City. It was pretty. It was kind of old when we got it, and we'd get to fighting on the bus and stuff, and break out a window or two and tear up the upholstery in it. It cost Mom $400 to get me out of school just to pay for books and damages, and
Oh no!
that wasn't the only one. You know, what they were in on it. So
That's the only trouble you got in
yeah,
that you remember, huh?
yeah.
Were you in sports in high school or no?
No, I never entered sports. I never, because the folks couldn't come pick me up after school, so it kind of left me in the bind. I had nowhere getting home. So.
Yeah. And what about? Did they have music or arts? Were you interested in anything like that
No.
in school? No.
No, I wasn't interested in
Just
that.
farming.
I did in the last year, my senior year, I had all the credits I needed to graduate, but I hadn't taken one class that was mandatory, and I couldn't take it till the last half of school year. So I was stuck. So they assigned me classes. So one of them was after working in the backstage. That was kind of interesting.
Oh, I get. Would you
Changing
do?
the props and when they'd put on a play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you liked that?
Well, they had to give us something to do, other than
Yeah.
just,
Sounds like fun.
it was kinda, I wasn't the one that did it, but one time they had the show was called 10 Nights in a Bar Room. And of course,
10
they
nights
had
in a bar room?
bottle, yeah.
Okay.
You know, for the, you know, you're supposed to have tea in it, but you can guess what happened.
Oh,
Loaded it with booze, and there was a kid by the name of Harvey Russell. He was one, and he took a gulp of it, and then of course he had to try not to show it because the whole audience and them won't go on. I think they caught on because here come the vice principal. He was looking all over it. But anyway, when you take a set up, bring another set right down, and
that's funny.
what I know, the backdrop, I guess it's called.
Right.
Well, there's a bunch of ropes all down along the line here, where you pull them up and down.
Uh-huh.
Stuck that bottle of booze in there, and he never found it, or we'd have been in deep trouble.
Oh.
'Cause I know nobody was fault, so we'd all got in trouble.
Wow. That's good. So what about you kept your close friends from elementary school into high school and
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, and throughout your life? I mean,
That was
so-
it. Yeah, Dad kept me busy all the time, and then I'd get kind of jealous. The rest of the kids be going to town or out to the shut-ins or something. Well, I was on a tractor running, you know, so I never got to do a whole lot with them until later on. Paul and I, we run around together quite a bit, and that's about it.
And the
It was-
shut-in, where did you, during the summer, you know, I was talking about this the other day about, you know, we're so spoiled now, or, you know, blessed, I guess, to have air conditioning and, you know, nice water coming in the house, because back in the day when you were raised, you didn't have any air conditioning here.
No.
Or, you know, you had a well, but was the water, you know, pumped into your house, or?
Yep, all the houses that I lived in, I'm pretty sure all had wells.
Running
and
water?
Running water. I was, like I say, first one was a two-story down here at the Dodge place. And then, I don't know what they called it, we always called it Alfie, and Alfie down at below Patterson's. I lived there for a while. And then we moved up to, I call it a home place. It had to have been along in the 40s, I guess.
Mhm. No air conditioning or swamp coolers or anything like
No.
that. Well, even the big tractors have all the air conditioning. When you were
Well, yeah, but when
farming,
we
they didn't have any.
started out, no, there was no.
How did you keep cool? There wasn't locally that wasn't really a river or a lake. No, the lake was built in the 50s, 60s, right? The San Antonio
That
Lake.
had to have been, I guess, in the
Do you remember that?
60s, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Well, I haven't got a memory for dates and stuff. I just
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah, but you remember facts about
Mhm.
things. Yeah, that's good. Well, so you went to high school, and do you remember anything about the town of Lockwood, or you know? I know the Lockwood store was built later on, but what about the old town of Lockwood, by where the Grange Hall is now? Do you remember
Yeah.
anything about that?
Yeah. Used to buy gas there, put in a Model T. Yeah, at the store.
At the old
At
the old town.
store, in the old town. Yeah.
What when do you remember when it was what? It just like kind of went away. Hungry Flats or town of Lockwood. They tore down the buildings or moved them. Or?
Morris Gutserman moved part of the buildings down where it is now.
To the store where it is now.
And then the hotel burnt down. I remember that. And I can't
Do you
remember.
remember how the hotel burned down? Just old or
I had no
maybe?
idea. I don't think they ever figured out what happened.
Oh.
I just happened to be out in the yard and looked down there and seen the smoke, and then pretty soon seen flames, and then the high school bus stopped there. That was before I went to high school, Bill. When Dad jumped in the pickup, we went down there, but there was nothing you could do. It was old, and the kid just went up on the
just
cloud of
went up.
smoke.
Yeah.
So, of course, the works of the seal, they lost everything there, that they, you know, they're all their personal belongings. And then earlier than that, they lived down on the river, and I don't know what to call it, was, oh, I can't remember the name of the place, but it burnt down too. They lost it again when they,
Oh, wow.
twice they had houses burned on them.
That was the Getzelmans?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to school with Paul Getzelman?
Mm-hmm. He was behind me in school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, there's a story about the store, how he built that brick by brick. That's amazing, you know.
Yeah, he had a machine set up. They built brick after brick till he had enough to build that place. Morris Getzelman did. My cousin worked for him 1 year doing that. Gary Stockdale.
And that he's a cousin from Adelaide or Paso
No,
Robles
it
area?
was my mom, and get this straight now, I have a hard time remembering things, but my mom's brother married my dad's sister, and am I getting this straight now? Yeah, and then help me with this.
Gladys
Okay.
Stockdale married Carol, and
No.
they had the twins.
That was Ben Stockdale.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, Ben Stockdale had my mother, or brother and sister, and then my dad and his wife was another brother sister.
Oh.
They brother sister married brother sister. Just
Yeah. I guess back in the day they didn't have a lot of people to choose from. So, that's a funny story.
I can think of a lot of them after you leave, probably, but yeah.
Well, tell her about you building the Play-Doh store.
Well, Eric Hall and I built this
The
Play-Doh
Play-Doh,
store.
the one that's there now?
Existing one, yeah. And the service station is there, we built that.
Oh, wow. That must have been, what year, do you remember? What year, in the 50s, 60s?
It must have been.
Yeah.
Or later. It was after we were married, huh? Oh, no, that's right.
You might have been married to that other woman, but I was.
Not when
That was
Yeah.
my next question.
Not when we run it, when we build it.
Oh, when we run it, that was in '94.
Well, when the,
Yeah.
do
You
you remember?
built it way before then. It was built
Yeah.
before the 70s, yeah.
But you and I weren't married yet when we built it, were we?
Yeah. Honest.
Oh, okay.
We got married in '84. So we've been married 10 years.
When you bought
When we
the
built the
store.
Play-Doh store, well, when we built the business there.
Yeah. The business, not the store.
Because the store was kaput, it was empty
Yeah.
when we took it over.
We're talking about when we built it, though.
Yeah, now when you built it, that must have been in the 50s.
Yeah.
When
50s
the-
or late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, that'd be late fifties then.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute,
Do
you
you-
graduated in '59,
3.
Yeah. Oh.
so it wasn't in high school doing
53.
that, it had to be
Right,
in the 60s.
yeah.
Graduated 53.
53?
Well, the lake, the old town of Plato is now under the San Antonio Lake.
Right.
So, did you remember anything about the old town of Plato?
No,
Did you ever
there was-
go there?
there was nothing
It's
there.
too far. Oh,
The only thing I can remember, there was the cemetery up on a little hill, and then there was a set of corrals down on the flats. That's about all that was left.
oh, okay. Yeah. And so after they built the lake and the old town of Plato was underwater,
Went
then
underwater.
they built the new store over there on Halone Road, the Plato store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so, well, that's interesting. We'll get to where you two got married. Did you were had been married? You were married prior to
Before.
Linda to
Right.
Sylvia.
Yes.
Yeah, and you had how many children did you have?
3.
3.
Yeah.
And what are their names?
Craig, Kevin, and Stephanie.
And do they still live in this area, or are they?
No.
No?
Craig, I understand, is at Pescadero.
Oh, okay.
Kevin's at 3 Rivers, and Stephanie, I'm not sure. She was probably in Carmel Valley. She had a house there in Madison Springs, it's probably still there.
And do you have grandchildren?
Yeah, cause we've not a very close outfit.
Right.
4 grandsons.
Kevin had 2, Craig had 2, and Stephanie 0. So,
Okay.
and then that was, oh golly, that's it, right? Yeah.
And you and Linda met here in Lockwood, and you were married in, what year were you married?
84.
Yeah. Do you remember? 1984.
I remember, yeah, I can remember. Yeah.
That's good. So, and where are Linda's parents from? Do you know where they're?
No, they were from
Where are your,
Ohio,
where were
I
your
guess.
parents? Ireland, your parents from Ireland? Your Irish descent?
Just found out that my dad was, one part was full Irish and the other was Irish and Cherokee.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good combination.
Yeah, but and then my mother was Irish and Dutch.
Oh, and so you and Linda have been married in '84. That's like 35 years, something
Almost 40.
For almost 40 years. Yeah, congratulations. That's good.
Thank you.
Takes good care of you. So you've told us about what you did for a living, and that was farming. And did you like that kind of work, or?
Well, and yeah, I guess so, because that's just about all I knew how to do. Did some mechanical work, like did welding and stuff like that, and mechanics.
And
Yeah.
you fix your own tractors?
So working on our own equipment, yeah.
We have a broken down tractor. Can you still fix it? Probably
not
with a
what
little
they-
help. You can give directions.
Not what they've got today, it's all
I know.
computerized.
Isn't it something?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. So, what was your favorite tractor? It can be, one that old. Do you have a favorite old
Oh, I
tractor?
think that's my favorite tractors, they were John Deere's.
John Deere's.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? Do you still own any tractor? Or did you
No.
donate them?
I've got, I kind of own some Caterpillars and the John Deere, and I don't know, my one grandson has got them.
Oh,
They're down at his place in out of, I can't even think of it. It's out of San Miguel. Out of that,
like Pleasant Valley
no,
Canyon, somewhere around there.
Yeah, you're probably.
Well, I know you were really involved in the Nacetone Museum.
Mhm.
And did you donate any of your tractors
Yeah.
and farm equipment to that, to the museum?
Some of it, yeah. The trucks. I didn't have any. Yeah, I did too. I donated 2 tractors to them. Or actually 3, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have family heirlooms. I guess those old tractors were your heirlooms.
I always had an interest in them, used them Pioneer Day. I fixed up a couple for the parade.
Yeah.
And then,
Do you remember how many years you drove tractor in the parade?
no, I've forgotten.
You've forgotten.
I must have been, I started in the 50s, probably mid 52, 53, long years before I graduated out of high school. I started and then up until about 5 years ago.
So you drove tractor before you could drive a car?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, I could drive a Model T, but that was,
Model T. So did you ever, when you went to town, when you drove to town, did you go to King City or Paso Robles
well, when my
for
folks were,
shopping?
they wanted, Mom went to Paso Robles, would like to go to Paso Robles most
Did
of
she
the time.
drive to Paso
No,
Robles?
I had to take her to Paso.
You-
She wouldn't go on the main road, just like 101.
She would.
She wasn't
wouldn't.
confident,
Did she have a driver's license?
No, she got, like I said, she got hers when I got mine, same time. So.
And you were how old?
17? I think I got one at 16.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that, yeah,
And your mom didn't get a driver's license till then?
till then.
Oh, that's interesting. So you used to drive her around.
Yeah, and I drove my grandmother too for a while. She would go, she could drive to King City, and then she'd have, when I got out of school, high school there, well, I'd go down and pick her up and haul her home.
Oh,
And so I did that till, well, actually, we hauled her to the hospital when she passed away, so. I hauled her right up until the end.
so, during the summertime when you were, out, out of school, what did you do for fun? Did you do anything? Did you go stay with friends?
Well, yeah, maybe towards the end, we'd have that 3-month period, on vacation from school. And we were farming down the river, and there was a couple of young fellas down there. One of them was about my age, and I'd go stay with them once in a while.
And that was
They
where?
were farming alfalfa down on the river. I called down the river. It was like Plato area.
Oh, okay.
Up to there.
And what was do you remember the name of the family that you stayed with?
Harris.
Harris? Oh, the Harris family. They were at Harris Creek. Is that
Yeah.
Wayne Harris, was that?
Yeah, he was related to that Harris.
Oh, okay.
Now also run around with, I think was the youngest one of that Harris boys.
Okay. What about other local families? Did you ever go stay with any other local families? Like,
Not enough to, just maybe an overnight once in a great while, but didn't really stay with anybody any length of time, no.
so, what is this about? Somebody was telling me about during one summer you had a brand new car or an old car, or you used to race it, or what did you do? Racing along the road?
I wrote down about the deer.
Oh, I worked over at the San Antonio Lake for a while, and I had a pretty late model Chevy, and it was a type that you could open the rear windows and in the front, and then it was all open in the sides. There was no post or anything in there.
Oh.
Anyway, I was coming down the road, and I seen this doe out to the side, and she was coming at an angle. I said, well, she's not going to come and hit the car. And sure enough, jumped the fence, and her head come right inside the car.
Oh.
So I had to clean up a little snot
Oh, God.
in the car.
That was probably a big surprise.
Oh, I had a few deer I hit too. At Lockwood, you probably remember that. You could hit
What
a
was
deer
that?
just about any. You could hit a deer out of just about anything you
yeah.
wanted to.
Yeah, we used to call Lone Road Deer Alley.
Yeah.
Now it's Pig Alley.
Yeah.
There aren't hardly any deer left in the
I
area.
know, it's
Yeah.
really different.
Yeah. So, yeah, it seemed like all the time you'd see deer along that area. That was their pathway. So, well,
Yeah, I had to went around on the hood of the car one night down by Patterson's. It was going down, I don't remember where it was headed, but anyway, it was going down the road and a deer come out and it was dark. They just caught a glimpse of it when it jumped, and it jumped right up on top of the hood. Rolled over against the windshield. All it did was bent the antenna in the car. It didn't hurt the car.
wow.
Just,
Gosh. Did it jump right off a hillside or just jump right over?
No, it wasn't a hillside there. It came right to come off a flat ground right there by Lester Patterson's house, where he's at now.
Gosh.
It was going right down that road. A little doe coming flying across there, I guess. I didn't see it coming. I just caught it out of the glimpse when it hit the car.
That's crazy. Do you have any other really fond memories of the area, like, big parties or what everybody did for fun when you got together? I mean,
No,
you're so far from Paso or King City.
I tell you how much difference there is between then and now. I had that stripped down Model T. There was no fenders on it. There was no license plates on it, and there was one year they had something up there for the mission, the San Antonio Mission, and I took that Model T and I drove clear up on a post, run around, went up. Oh, I don't remember what the heck the name of the little spot was. They're part of the Army anyway. And run around and came back, and nobody ever bothered us. There's two of us in it. So that's how much has changed,
I know.
You try to do something like that now, and they'd have you, but
Yeah.
They let me go.
Did you ever go over to the coast when you went?
Yeah.
You know, did you go like over Nassamino Ferguson Road?
Yeah.
That way, did you fish over there and things
When I
like
was-
that? Or?
One with Jim Wepling, with Babylonian, and then I'd go over with my dad. They'd go over there, him and Archie Wepling and so on, just for a day out, I guess. I just went with them and
Yeah, just for the day.
just for a day, go over there and they'd,
Cool off, probably.
yeah, just for the heck of it, I guess. Because none of them were heavy drinkers, so I don't know why they really go, but I'd go with them. Then when I go, I'd go old enough, I'd go over there once in a while. Yeah. I went over to Nassamino Ferguson a number of times.
Yeah. That's what you did for fun in those days.
But from here to there, I had a truck doing some work over there one time. It took me an hour and 10 minutes to go from Lockwood to Highway 1 by going over Nassamino Ferguson.
Yeah, it's still about that. Well, now you can't get over there yet.
I don't know if they opened it up yet
They
or not.
haven't,
They haven't.
no.
No.
But yeah, it didn't take that long. An hour to the coast. You know, good way to cool off. Go swimming or clamming. Did you ever go clamming or
We used to go
Babylonian?
down Oceana. That was one of the big deals when I
Yeah.
was growing up. They would go down there and go clamming. I'd get to go, but they might have to go, and they were bringing them in and put them in a pile, and I'd have to measure and be sure they were all the legal size. The ones that weren't, I had to put them in a separate pile. And game warden come over and wanted to check me out. And I said, well, so go to it. So he did. He went and they checked each pile and be sure there was a right number and no illegal ones. And the illegal ones I'd already thrown to the side and told her
Yeah.
what I'd done.
Put them back.
Yeah, we were going to put them back. And they said, okay, well, you're putting them back. So I never did. We got checked out about every time we went down there. There was so many of us would go at the time. The whole Lockwood Valley
I
down there
know.
would go.
It was
And then,
fun. I went a couple times. That was fun.
yeah. So, yeah, we'd have high as 50, 60 clams in a, I don't know how many were, 10, limit 10, I don't know. But anyway, they asked me to keep them separate, but I finally I had to keep them in separate piles instead of all one pile.
Yeah, everybody wanted their own clams.
Yeah, they didn't have to work for their
That was
living, I
mine.
guess, that day. But anyway, we always,
When you said 50 or 60, I thought you meant people, and I'm going, that's almost the whole valley. Because back in the day, there weren't that many people here.
no, I don't think, that was about a limit for 6 people at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 per person, I think.
I think it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was really fun to do.
I kind of enjoyed doing that, but like I said, always got stuck up there with the clams and counting them. And
You were the clam
I
guard.
was the guy that had to do all that. So
Oh,
I clammed for a little while, but when they started bringing clams in, I had to go up there and start counting. And one day I was out there with Paul, we were out fishing. And there was one fish, I can't remember what the heck the kind of fish it was, but anyway, they told us, be sure you don't have any of the fish. Okay, so we were fishing, and I told Paul, you know what they're talking about? Yeah, okay. And pretty soon the game warden came over, he wanted to check us out. Well, sir, have at it. We had 10 that weren't legal.
uh-oh.
So, yeah, so anyway, he made us go in, and he followed us clear in, and when we got to the marina, well, he started riding Paul up. I never did find out Paul had to go pay the fine, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't
Did you get to keep the fish or no? They confiscated?
Oh, no, they confiscated those
Yeah.
fish, yeah.
Oh. Well,
And then, well, that was kind of something too. When I was out on the water, the one game warden that pulled up in his boat and said that we had too many fish, and well, we had the wrong kind of fish actually. He said he took them all out of our ice chest. He said, Paul said, you got all you want? Yeah, okay. But I want you to follow me in. Oh, okay. So we had to go in, we got in there, come to find, he left one in there.
Oh.
Ice box. We had one more. It wasn't legal, but they didn't write that one up. He overlooked it.
Was it might have been, was it salmon or halibut or something
No,
like that?
it was
Cats
a,
on?
it was a rockfish, so it had to be
Rockfish.
on the bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
I did a lot of fishing with Paul on that. I never did like it because I was always losing our lures on that
You
rocks, you know, because they're dragging their bait right on the bottom of the,
Yeah.
so they'd hit a rock and you'd lose it.
You lose it.
Yeah, it usually the way. Oh, once in a while they'd come loose. Most of the time they'd break the line. That was kind of fun too. It was kind of expensive with it with lures, but.
I think that's a really good memory of fishing with Paul.
Yeah, there's a lot of times you're scared out there. We went out there a few times, and Gene Johnson was one of them that happened to me. Him and I were out together, and the fog came in. They come in thick. You couldn't see the end of the boat hardly.
Oh, that's scary. Where were you fishing out of it?
Yeah, that day
Laurel
we.
Bay or?
No, I think that morning we fished out of Moss Landing. We
Oh,
fished
okay.
out of Moss Landing and we went
Uh-huh.
down
And
to
it
Morro
got-
Bay too. So
What did you do? It was so, fog was so thick.
he finally said, "Well, let's go in," 'cause you could hear boats coming and going by, but you couldn't see them. I don't know, those guys would be running wide open out there in that fog, and they're just going by what they had on their instruments. And so Gene said, "Well, let's go along there." He said, "You tell me if you see any breakers, and we'll just stay out of the breakers and just follow, go up to it." It was
That's
Moss
cute.
Landing we were headed for, yeah. And it was easier to find Morro Bay because of the rock. They didn't
Yeah.
usually show up there enough out there.
Did you ever get caught in the fog out there?
Oh, yeah.
At Morro Bay?
Mhm. Couple.
What kind of boat were you in?
Well, Paul had a pretty nice boat.
It was a big boat, it wasn't little.
Oh no, it was a big boat.
Oh.
Yeah. It had hauled, you could fish 6 people up there pretty easy.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what kind of make it was or anything, but
It wasn't a little tiny boat, it was
no,
a
one
big
little
boat.
tiny boat. And then, I wasn't with Paul, but there's a kind of a story they were told on him. He was out there and his battery went dead. He wanted to start it, well he couldn't. I don't know, they shut it off for some reason. Because we usually always let the engine idle, so we know we're running. And anyway, he was out there, he couldn't go, so here comes the fishing game over, want to know what his troubles were. And he told him, well, he said, I need a jump start. Well, we see we don't do that, so you'll have to get somebody else. Oh, come on, we're one to fish. Finally said, oh, okay, so they got up, pulled up alongside of him and gave him the jumper cables and stuff. And he got ready to go. He said, okay, thank you, and he hit it, and away he went. Well, he didn't unhook the jumper cables.
Oh. He forgot to unhook the jumper.
They caught up to him and said, now that's the reason we don't want to help people.
Oh,
Yeah, it was,
that's a really good memory.
yeah, some of
Yeah.
the stuff. Poor Paul, man.
Well, we really appreciate you spending time with us and telling some of your stories. I was just wondering if you had anything else. You've told us so many good stories and subjects. Do you have anything else that you would like to
No, not
share
that.
with us?
I'll think
Really
of
good
it.
story, Joe.
You can leave. But, no, I can't think of anything really exciting that I can think of it pertaining to history or.
Well, everything you've told us about the area, about walking to school. The thumbtack story is my favorite. I love that.
No, it's kind of goofy sometimes too, I guess.
Yeah.
What about with your car? You said that this is before the freeway went in, and you take an old road and go into Paso Robles, and I don't know, outrunning the cops, and then your tires would squeal, and you said you put a set of tires on your car really often.
That was. I always have the latest car in the group of us that run around together, and get to town. A lot of times they'd want to borrow my car. I'd load my car out, and they'd go out there and they'd try to get everybody to outrun them or race with them or something. Hell, they'd burn up my tires. Sometimes in the 2 weeks I'd have to get another set of tires.
Oh, well, I guess I didn't.
And the only guy,
Back
Can you
then they
imagine
didn't
every
make-
2 weeks
Yeah.
buying a new set
We
of
had a
tires?
was yeah, but that didn't last forever. But anyway, we get them at the Standard Oil station there in Paso Robles. And Ernest Weffling was one of the other buyers there, and the guy said that Ernest and I'd almost keep him in the tire business. He always said, you guys have burned up a lot of tires.
Going back and forth to town.
Yeah, Ernest, you know, being an older person, you wouldn't think, but he burned his tires up too, so. The tires weren't made as good as they are now, dude. Now
No.
you get a lot of
Yeah, they
mileage
were
out of tires.
Well, thank you, Calvern. We really appreciate you taking the time today to talk to us, and we really appreciate it. I guess we'll just have to come back again and get some more of your good stories.
Well, yeah, 'cause I can't remember all this stuff. I'm getting so darn old, I can't remember my own name most of the time. So.
I know. I think everybody our age
No.
has that kind of problem. Well, thank you, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it enough to have me, so.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, Calvern built this wagon, and then I found the soldiers, so we just added that. He built this wagon. This is a prairie
This is-
schooner,
Calvern Sailor built.
Calvern Sailor, and he made the wagon, and that's a John Deere car. I didn't know they made a car. And I don't know about this thing. But he built this just because he said he always wanted to build a motor, whatever it is. I don't know the names of this stuff. And these are just collectibles, these things. They're all
Little
just
tractors.
nice tractors.
Tractor collection.
Yeah. Now, this he made is from a kit, and then this is the leftover pieces, and he even put people on it. I thought, I'm in trouble when he starts whittling people. And this is airplanes that we just collected, and the bikes. He made this doctor buggy, and this thing is so fragile. But we had to put it in a case. And this little case, he cut, you know, like I buy donuts, and then the plastic roof that goes on a donut case,
Oh, yeah.
or cookies or something, he cut that out and made that. And this right here is Dusty Flats Farming. That was the name of the farm.
The farm that he had.
Yeah, him and Bob Wefferling were farming, and they formed a little corporation.
Oh.
Yeah. And, well, I told you he built that thing, kind of. He had bits and pieces, and then he put them all together. And he built this ship. And that airplane, he made that up. That's kind of like his imagination.